Good afternoon, or morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Adam Duval, aka the Mental Health Warrior, and today, for the very first time, I'm going to be interviewing Andrew ALTON-READ. So all I've got to say is welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. You're most welcome. And I know Ben Chai is going to be tuning in on Facebook.
All right. Good to see you, Ben.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So obviously we connected through Ben, and all I've got to say is brilliant. I know he's. I see Ben as a celebrity in some way.
He is definitely. Thanks for organising this, Ben.
Absolutely. So I'm going to kickstart with just a few quick fire questions for you, just to hype up the mood a little bit.
Okay.
So I'm going to say cats or dogs?
Both.
Okay. Summer or winter?
Winter.
Okay. Light or dark?
Light.
Yeah. Does pepperoni belong on pizzas?
No. Salads.
Finally come across someone that agrees with me. I don't like pepperoni at all. Pineapple, sorry, pineapple. Next one is Christmas or Halloween?
Christmas.
Okay. Okay. Water or filtered water?
Water.
Fair enough. Right, we'll end there. Now, obviously, for people who's going to be tuning in on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, tell me who you are, where you're tuning in from, and let's hear your story, because we're all here waiting. So I'm going to kickstart for the viewers, and especially myself, is who is Andrew ALTON-READ?
Okay, well, I do many things. I work as a presenter for Chelmsford Community Radio, which I broadcast every Sunday evening. So if you want to tune in, that's on www.chelmsfordcommunityradio.com. And also locally, if you're in Essex, 104.4 FM, I'm an actor, a voiceover artist. I've done performing as a singer and many, many things. So known mainly as an entertainer, and I'm also now co-producing my own short film called The Long Walk, which is a new challenge and a very exciting challenge at the moment, and looking forward to doing that. So that's basically me, and I like avocado and cheese. There you go.
Avocado and cheese,
not together.
I don't think I've ever tried them together either.
No, it's nice on toast.
We always have to try something once.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's me in a nutshell.
So let's talk about you. Obviously, like everything you've just covered, we're going to be covering that anyway.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you, like when you were growing up. Like, what type of child was you?
I was a very shy child, I would say. I made a lot of friends at school, but unfortunately for me, I was bullied at school, which isn't. I know a lot of children get bullied at school, and it's a lot different now. But bullying was pushed to the side, and you were basically just left to get on with it. And I think if you reported it and your parents came up to school and spoke about it, sometimes it got worse, sometimes it got better. It depended the way that they approached it. It's approached a lot differently these days. But yeah, it was a happy childhood. I was brought up as a Christian child, and my mum and dad used to take me to church. I used to go to a family hour, and I was in the church choir, so I used to sing in the church choir every Sunday, and also get paid for weddings, which was yes, I think I got about £2. It seems it probably was a lot of money in those days. So yeah, so we used to get paid for weddings as well, which was good. Yeah, I had a happy childhood, despite the bullying. I always try to put a brave face on everything, and I think whatever you're going through, you just need to know that you've got people around you that can support you and look after you and be there for you. And if you're suffering with bullying, anyone, you can have bullying at any time of life. You just need to speak out and speak to someone about it and ask for help, because if you don't go out and speak about it and you keep it all all inside you, then sometimes it can suddenly explode and cause all manner of problems, which can go from mental health problems in your childhood and span right through to your adult life.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask, what does mental health actually mean to you as a person?
As a person, well, when I would say in my 20s, because I had mental health very young, when I was about 15. But when I was in my 20s, I used to shy away from it and not think I had anything wrong with me. And I used to go out and party like everybody does. And I think you have to realize that some people can only do so much. And if you do anything that you feel, I don't know, it's going to push you beyond your barriers, basically, you've got to stop and say, hang on, can I cope with this? Can I do this? And I was at the age where I thought I could do everything. I could go out 5 nights a week, do what I wanted, and then come back and then not suffer with mental illness. And it was only until I got to about the age of 30 and I had a very serious breakdown where I ended up being out walking the streets for 24 hours on my own and meeting all different people, good and bad. And I could have easily not be here today telling you the story. I could have died easily from what happened to me. And I think it was a wake-up call saying to you, look, Andrew, you need to take this seriously. You need to understand what mental illness is and what it can do and how it can affect you. And you've got to be careful with your life. You've only got one body, and that one body you've got to look after. And I think that's what mental health means to me, that you need to look after yourself, because years ago mental health meant you had a mental illness. These days mental health means you're looking after your body. What is my mental health like today? Whereas now they call it negative mental health, which is when something happens to you. For example, you have depression, anxiety, psychosis, schizophrenia, all different things that happen to you that may have happened because of a trauma in your life that you've suffered, or in past things can happen. You could have had a bereavement in your family. You could have suffered a trauma in your life. Something could have happened to you that caused that mental health to happen. And I think, to me, coming back to your question, mental health really means to me that you need to manage yourself properly and look after yourself mentally. Your mental health is important.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. And obviously this goes back to when you actually found out you had these challenges when you was 15. What was your response to when you got told you've got challenges, you've got mental illness, mental health?
I think I didn't really understand what was happening to me. I know that when I used to read books in bed and I used to get like a racy feeling in my head that my brain was racing ahead, I didn't know what it was. And I think that was the first triggers of mental illness coming on to me. And I think at that time, because I was born in 1972, so in the 1980s, it was very much a taboo subject, and it still is, not as taboo subject, but it still is a difficult subject that people find to talk about or talk to about. And I know that everybody that was at school with me didn't know what was wrong with me. So they just thought, oh, he's gone to hospital. And there was only a very few people that knew that I had a mental illness. And I think it was shied away upon, and nobody wanted to talk about it or discuss it. And nobody wanted to accept that there was something wrong with me. And I think my parents had to come to terms with that I had mental illness and they needed to do something about it. And they needed to get medical help to get me looked after, and to basically get I was taken into a mental institution at a very early age. And there was a lot of adults there. I was the youngest there. The other people were in their 20s. So I was institutionalized with a number of frightening cases of mental illness now. And I was one of them, basically. And I was treated as a minor, but also it was a frightening place. I can vividly remember all the different things that went on in that room. I can remember what the people's faces, the good and bad sides of it. There was funny and sad sides of it. You could laugh about it and you could cry about it where I was. But I know that I can remember when I first arrived that I went running to the side of a door because I wanted to escape, and I was crying on the floor, and I got just pulled up and dragged up by a nurse to go back to bed, because it was very much clinical, and they just wanted to make sure that you were okay. But they did their job. Basically, they did their job those days, and in those days, a lot of there wasn't that much help there for people and children in a whole. They didn't know what to do with you, so they thought the best place was an adult mental health institution.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. See, I see this actually getting to you. So obviously we'll move on a little bit.
Okay.
But obviously I've got total respect to what you're
coming
across.
Okay.
I really do. And now up to the viewers, wherever you are. So pop in a comment or a question if you've got one for Andrew. So obviously you overcame that. So let's talk about, because obviously before we came on, you said that you worked behind the scenes of Harry Potter. So, but before we get to that, what was you like when you first got called up to the Harry Potter studios?
What was I like?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a big fan of Harry Potter, and I always dreamed of being in the film.
Right.
And I got a call. I finished drama school, and I worked as an extra and a featured artist, just to get the idea of how everything worked behind the scenes, so you could see what happened behind the camera. So my agent said to me, "Oh, there's an audition for Harry Potter, and they'd like to see you, and they want you to be the or go for the Ministry of Magic lift operator." So I was a bellboy. So I got the part, and I was a bellboy in the film. Blink and you miss me, but they were very much to detail with the costume. The costume was exactly as you see it, very much to detail with it, even though you don't see much of me in the film itself. But the experience was amazing. I got to meet Daniel Radcliffe and all the different characters, and I think when you see the film and when you see how they make it, it's just amazing what technology has moved on in cinematic ways, and how they can bring that to life, and how they bring all the green screen and all what they do. It's just amazing. But it was like a fairy tale, really, for me. Yeah. I've always wanted to be in Harry Potter. I think it's either Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings. People either like one or the other, or both sometimes. But I think I was more of a Harry Potter fan, and I read Harry Potter first of all before it came to screen, and then and then I was in it. So, as they say, some dreams do come true.
Absolutely. So what are these actors like in real life?
They're really nice. They're lovely people. They're really nice, just down to earth. Daniel Radcliffe's very down to earth. I think it was a big part for him to play, because he hadn't done much on that scale of acting before. He'd done other bits and pieces, but he hadn't done that on that scale. And I think the children that were in it, Emma Watson and Peter Rupert. I'm trying to think of
Rupert
Grint. That's it, Rupert Grint. Yeah, all the other actors that were in it did a marvelous job, and they were really friendly on set, and that. And it was a great experience to do that, and to sit in the because I had dinner in the hall, I'm trying to think what it's called now, but there's a name for it, isn't it? The Harry Potter Hall, where everything happens.
Let's just call it that.
The Harry Potter Hall. Well, I had dinner in there. Yeah, and all the sets were up, and it was really interesting to see how everything got down to put together and to be made into a film. But I think if you see that side of it, sometimes it opens your eyes on how much hard work is put on behind the scenes as well as in front of the camera, because people just look at the actor basically, don't they? You forget about all the people behind the scenes that have done all that hard work. But there's so many people that are involved in film, TV and theatre behind the scenes. So yeah, and it's been a tough time for us all recently, especially for theatre, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Before we move on from Harry Potter, is there going to be another film? Do you know? I
don't know. I haven't got inside information. No, I don't know. I'd like there to be another one. Who knows? J.K. Rowling could write another book or a few more books. You don't know, do you?
No, nobody knows.
There's always another story behind Harry Potter, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to because obviously I used to watch it when I was a child. Dick and Dom.
Oh, that was an experience in itself, I think, doing tap dancing at whatever time in the morning to Dick and Dom. Yeah, so I was a wappy tapper. So
yeah, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah, so which role did you play from that?
Well, I was known as a wappy tapper. So when they used to do that, I don't know if you remember on the program, they used to have a contest where they'd have a couple of people phoning in, and they'd have to compete against each other. And then we were the wappy tappers. We had to tap dance. And they had to count how many. I'm trying to think what the actual game was. All I can remember doing was making up a tap dance at 7 o'clock in the morning and then suddenly doing it live on television with a top hat. So it's a bit different. Yeah. So yeah, we made the dance up at 7 o'clock in the morning and then we put it on live on Dick and Dom. Yeah. So that's a bit of an experience in itself, isn't it?
Yeah. So for the viewers, that's the question we want to know is what's that game called?
What's that game called? I can't remember. It's so many years ago.
Yeah, so please give us a little bit of help,
guys.
Wappy
Tappers. I think it's Wappy Tappers. It's Wappy Tappers. And then they had a different subject each week. So they used to do different games. Like they had people crying on there. They had to how long it took them to cry. If you could see a proper tear without using an onion. They did all weird different things. And I know the show that I went on, they tried to gunge Rachel Stevens from S Club 7 and she ran off the set at a particular time. So I know she didn't want to be gunged. I don't think she wanted to get all that muck all over her. But
no. The favourite game I used to watch was that Bogies one.
Yes,
going to a public place, yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I do remember it. It was a funny program. Yeah.
Did you take part in that?
The Bogies thing? No. No, I just did the tap dancing. No.
Fair enough. Oh. Right. And obviously you covered Bad Girls as well.
Yes,
now, obviously I used to watch that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that was a bit different. I would just walk in, and I was a prison photographer for that. So that was back in 2006, I think that was. But that was a great show. Yeah, that was on ITV. I think you still see replays of that.
Yeah. Was you in every episode then?
No, I was only in one episode. No, I was just in one episode of that. Yeah, but they did a close-up of me because I didn't want to watch myself on television, and so I was working in a restaurant at the time and I thought I won't tell anyone. So I didn't know the following week they were going to repeat the same shot of me right on the screen. So as I was watching the next episode, because I used to be an avid fan of Bad Girls, and I was sitting there watching it and then my face came on the screen and I thought, oh no. And you criticize yourself, don't you, all the time about what you look like. And but that's my claim to fame for Bad Girls. Yeah,
absolutely. So who was your favorite actor then, or actress?
Or actress in Bad Girls?
Yeah, there
was so many of them that were really good. The two Julies, I don't know if you remember the two Julies. Yeah. Michelle Doherty. Yeah. I think all of them were really good. Shirley in EastEnders was in it.
She was.
Yeah, there's a lot of actresses that were in it that are now have gone on to other great work.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, other things, yes. But yeah, I met a lot of them there. They were a really lovely bunch, and we had a laugh on that day. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, last year I think I saw an article that they were thinking of remaking that again. But
right, okay.
I don't know.
Well, they're doing the bill again, aren't they? They're doing the bill.
Yeah. So, hey, never say never.
Never say never. No, you never know. You never know.
You never know. So, obviously that's your career. So let's talk about this new film you're doing.
Okay, well, it's called The Long Walk, and it's based on a true story about a young man who suffers a trauma early in life.
Yeah.
And then through determination, he carries on, and then he suffers a setback when he's like later in life, and he's helped by unsuspected strangers. So these messages: reach out, don't stay silent, ask for help. And it's raising awareness of mental health and psychosis, especially because I think sometimes psychosis can get bad press.
They can.
And I want to raise that there is a positive side to mental health, as well as it's a thought-provoking story. It unlocks the key of mental health, and it shows the side of the sufferer and their family and how they survive and how they cope with the mental illness and how they go on to achieve great things. But I think the main thing is that you can just reach out and ask for help with anyone. You never know. You could be talking to somebody on the bus, or you could be down the street just going for a walk and just not feel yourself, and then you just see someone and you can just talk to them, or reach out to somebody and ask for help. But as I say, it's there as a tool for people to watch, to empathize with, to understand, or just to help. And that was my main aim of making the film. And through lockdown, I was able to pick up a script that I hadn't looked at for a number of years, go through it, and then get together a rough script. And then from that, we've had a writer come on board, award-winning writer Moni Morgan, who's written the screenplay for us. And then we've got our director on board at the moment, Richard Qatar, and Little Drops Productions, which are we're in pre-production stage at the moment, and we're looking to look for support. So if anybody would like to support or it resonates with them at all, we've got our crowdfunding page, and it's greenlit.com/project/long walk. So /long-walk. So that's greenlit.com/project/long-walk. So that's what it's all about. So yeah.
Brilliant. So this leads me on to, have you written a book?
I haven't written a book. I've started writing a book. I have started.
Brilliant.
Yeah, a number of years I started writing a book. So I've got to go back to that about all that's gone on with me, because I've had so many different stories with mental health, as I said, good and bad side of it. And I think just get pen to paper and start writing. I think the more you write, the better you get. And I've written a couple of plays myself that I'm looking to bring to the stage, and one I'm looking to bring to the cinema as well, the screen. But yeah, I would like to write a book. I have started. I think I'm on about the 4th chapter, but this is years ago. I think it's on my old computer, so I might have to start writing again, because I've got to find it. You know, when you start writing something and then years go by and you forget that you've written it. But yeah, I did start writing it. So I think when I get a chance with everything that's going on at the moment, because producing, I don't think until you start producing, because I've never produced before, you realize what a big job it is and what you have to do. And as we're doing the crowdfunding as well, you have to make sure everything's on track and everything's running along smoothly, and you're there to iron out all the problems if any problems arise, and to get everybody together. The producer gets everyone together. So I'm working with my co-producer Leigh Trifari, and we're as I say, we're in pre-production stage. We're looking to shoot, all being well, in October in Essex and London. So if there's anybody out there who'd like to be involved, you can always email us, and that's info1 thelongwalkfilm@gmail.com. So I'm sure we can put that up on the site. It's just if people want to have a look.
Yeah.
So so it's an opportunity for people to get involved and to support a good cause, because anyone could be a sufferer from mental health any time in their life, and I think people don't realise until it suddenly happens to them. I think with the pandemic that we've had this year, a lot of people have suffered a lot with anxiety and depression, especially.
That's right.
And especially like last night, I know a lot of people watched the England game, and I really felt for the penalty shooters. And I think they did their best, and that's what we've got to say. They did their best. And sometimes things just don't happen. Sometimes happen for a reason. I think, I know that they'll probably get bad press, but we've got to be strong for them, because what they're going through as well, and they haven't let us down. And that's what I want to say.
Exactly. Perfectly said, because at the end of the day, history's repeat itself. It does. And this is what we're actually in the process of actually doing. That we're trying to get footballers onto the show, to actually, because obviously my partner Kerry Duval, she actually did a podcast this morning to talk about mindset, and we're on about talking about good resilience and what does it mean to a footballer to actually be on that pitch from beginning to end. So any footballers out there that want to get in touch and want to come on the show, PM us and get in touch. And Kerry's actually put, if the filming was closer to us, she'd go along.
Oh, where is she? Where's Kerry?
We're actually in Lancashire in England.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a shame. I suppose we always get a private jet.
Yeah. I'll just pull one out of the bank.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So I'm glad you brought up about the bullying, because that when it comes to education, because they're being criticised a lot when it comes to this. What advice would you give them to when it comes to bullying? Because they're not really doing much these days. No,
well, I would just go back to when I was in a theatre and education tour, and I was playing the lead in that, and I was the victim of a bully. And that one of the particular afternoons, I was just waiting for my bus home, and I saw one of the boys that was in the audience who had spoken to me briefly, and he said that he was being bullied and he was really worried about it. And then I've forgotten all about it. And then I saw this boy again, and then I saw a group of lads get off a bus, much older than him, and say, "Oi, you," and they chased him down the road. So I contacted the school about it, because I think with bullying, you need to, as I said before, you need to speak to someone about it. Don't let it go away. If you're being bullied, if you're being bullied at school, especially, I think they have more of a handle on it now than they used to. But I think they need to also, the bully needs to be educated as well as the victim, what the victim's going through, because they need to know what they're causing and what they do. Because some bullies can start from one person and it can evaporate to a gang of people bullying one child, and they just jump on the bandwagon and decide to bully that person. And I think if the bully sees what they're doing, because they do a lot of role play with children now these days, how they what the child goes through when they're bullied, how it affects them, and what it can do to them in later life. And I think you just need to know that someone is there to talk to, be it your head teacher, be it your teacher, be it your friend at school. Just go and speak to them. Just say, I'm being bullied. I don't know what to do about it, but I'm telling you. And then if you tell a teacher, then they will go and speak to someone about it and sort it out for you. And then it will be nipped in the bud. I think as long as you nip these things in the bud, if you leave them to bubble under, and then it can cause all manner of things. You could get into a scrape with the bully. You could end up having a breakdown yourself and be hospitalized, like I was. Or the bully could start bullying you, and then more people bullying you, then more people bullying you, and then it's the whole class against you because they just see it as a joke, and it's just victimization. But I think to know that you're not the victim, to know that you're not being picked on because of who you are, you're being picked on because it's the bully that's weak, not you.
So what advice would you give to someone that's being bullied, but they're not being bullied by a school or anything like that? They're an adult and they're being bullied. What advice would you give to them?
It depends what bullying it is. If it's physical or mental, because verbal bullying. Well, you can be taken to court for harassment. So if somebody's harassing you, you need to go and speak to the police about that. If it's verbal bullying, because that is a criminal offence. Even saying something against you, it's very much that side of it. I think that the same thing, if you're being verbally bullied by somebody and it's at work, go and speak to someone. Don't let it lie. Don't let it fester underneath. Don't let it carry on, because as soon as the bully sees, I'm getting away with it, then I'll do it all the more and do it all the more and do it all the more, and then make the person at breaking point. And then the person ends up leaving their job because they just can't take it any longer. You don't want the bully to win. You want to fight forward and be the one that can overcome this, I think.
Absolutely. And going back to Harry Potter, the words from Albus Dumbledore is, numbing the pain for a while will make things worse until you finally feel it. Yeah,
definitely. I think if it's like putting, as they say, putting a plaster over it. If you put a plaster over something and you don't put anything underneath it, it's only going to heal so much. You've got to put the Savlon on it. You've got to put the cream on it. You've got to make sure it's going to be all right. It's like a foundation of a house. If you don't put the foundations in place, then things start happening. I think don't leave the pain going on in you inside you. Do something about it. Speak up, do something about it, and make sure that you're not alone, that you can fight this.
Exactly. So would you say, because I've had quite a few people on here and they all agree, would you say mental health itself in the education system should be removed from the PHSE lessons and stand as its own individual lesson?
I would say it should do. Yeah, I think it should, because it's important. And I think all the different things that have happened in the past to people, people have been at breaking point where they've committed suicide, where especially young people, there's so much pressure under young people these days to do well at school, they've got to cope with all the pressures of school, along with bullying, and if you do well, then you can sometimes get bullied because you're doing well and someone's jealous of you. A lot of bullying can be through jealousy. So yeah, I think it should be a subject on its own. I think that people would benefit by having a class about mental health, looking after yourself, knowing how to look after yourself, understanding what mental illness is, and that there's so many different strands of mental illness, from anxiety to depression to schizophrenia to bipolar. There's so many different strands, and each person gets affected in a different way, or it may be caused in a different way. Maybe just something that's happened to them in their early lives that causes it to happen, or it may be just something that comes upon them suddenly, and it's how to deal with that mental health rather than not knowing. I think when I was younger, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to deal with it. If you know how to deal with it at a young age, then you're able to survive.
I agree. I really do agree. So my last question for you is, if you saw someone who, no, let me rephrase that. If you came across you as a 15-year-old standing right in front of you, what piece of advice would you actually give them?
If they were suffering from mental illness, you mean?
No. If you were standing like today, if you saw yourself as a 15-year-old, what piece of advice would you actually give them?
Enjoy life. Don't be too serious. Because I know when I was young, I was very serious about a lot of things. I think enjoy life, be happy. You've only got one life, and live it to the full. But take care and look after your body and look after yourself.
Brilliant. Amazing. Now, all I've got to say is thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me, Adam. It's been a pleasure.
You're most welcome. Thanks to everyone tuned in on LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube. Please share the hell out of this. Let's get these views up. And yeah, I think if the next podcast, if I'm not live tonight with Susan Day, it'll be Wednesday at 1 p.m. with Guy Brolando. He's a veteran, so we'll be bringing him back on. But other than that, thanks to everyone, and I hope you have a fantastic day.
Yeah, thanks ever so much, Adam.
You're most welcome. Cheerio,
Enjoy
guys.
the sunshine. Bye-bye.